This is a quick video showing you how to get Spitzer data for our cluster IC417. From the URSA front page, click on the Spitzer icon. What you want is the Spitzer Heritage Archive. The Spitzer Heritage Archive is home to all of the Spitzer data that was taken during the mission and also the products delivered back to Spitzer and URSA by various teams in the community. You dropped into the position search page, type in IC417. An observation request, an astronomical observation request, or AOR, is the fundamental unit of Spitzer observing, and it's the most compact way of obtaining the completed Spitzer observations. They're the pipeline products. But because I happen to know that our region is in a region of the sky covered by one of these so-called legacy teams that delivered enhanced products back to us. So let's make sure that contributed enhanced products is checked. We can also get the source list and super mosaics technically, but because this is in a region of sky that I happen to know was covered not during the cryo mission but in the post-cryo mission, there won't be any SEIP products. But if you're searching on a generic target in the sky, you probably do want to see if those products are available. There aren't any spectroscopy in this region. The level 2 post-BCD products are the pipeline products from the observation. So let's go and search. It comes back with tabs for each one of the things that we selected. So here's the AOR tab. These are all of the observations that were done in this region. And you can see they're all IRAC map post-cryo. So they're all post-cryo observations. So there's only 2 IRAC channels. It looks like those 3 are part of the glimpse tiles, and then here it looks like they're probably trying to fill in gaps. It even explicitly says fill in. If you want to see what the footprint of the observation looks like, if you click on AOR footprint, it gives you a footprint of the observation on the sky. That's the target that we searched on, the blue circle. Now, the level 2 post-BCD products, the ones that are going to be listed here, are just the mosaics, and they're going to be created 1 mosaic per channel per AOR. And the file names are cryptic, but once you get the hang of it, it actually makes a lot of sense. So that's an AOR number. There's channel 1 and channel 2, and then some other information, and then MAIC. MAIC means mosaic.fits. When you go to download these data from here, you'll get more than just the maic.fits file. You get errors and coverage and all sorts of other stuff. But the maic.fits is the mosaic image, and that's probably what you want. If you want a preview of the observation, if you click on data, it will actually load that fits file in here. That's the target that we searched on. So this particular tile is a little bit off of where we were searching. This one is also a little bit off. Let's see, this one, you see it's covered as part of our region. This one has our target included, but it's not the whole region we're studying. So what we want actually is some product that has all of these already mosaicked together. Super mosaics would do that, except that the super mosaics haven't been done for the post-cryo mission. The contributed products, though, that's what we want. The Glimpse team did these observations, and they delivered back images and catalogs. So it's telling us it found 2 images in this region, which makes sense, 1 for each channel. And remember, you're going to get, when you download it, additional things like errors and coverage and things like that. And then the catalogs here, it gives you 2 choices. One is something called the Glimpse 360 Archive, which it says here is more complete, less reliable. What that means is anything that might be a source has an entry in here, but that means that things that are actually not sources may also have entries. And it finds 4,100 lines in the region that we care about. Glimpse 360 catalog is highly reliable. In other words, if it appears in here, you know it's a source, but not everything that's really a source appears in this catalog. And sure enough, it finds fewer sources, 3,800. So if we click on the Glimpse name, it brings up a tab that has the images that it found. Sure enough, it found 1 for each channel, and it's going to put the data in the tab over here as soon as it pulls it. All right, so there's the image that it found. And this is the FITS file, so you can interact with this just like you can with all the rest of the URSA tools. You can make it big, you can zoom in and out, you can scroll around and interact with the images that way. If you go back to the contributed products and click on the catalogs glimpse name, it will pull up a tab with the catalogs in it. Because 4,200 sources is a lot, it's going to take a couple seconds to go and get it and then say, yes, I want to load it. And there are all the sources. It's also going to try and overlay the sources on the image on the right. At least I think it will. It may take it a couple seconds because that's a lot of sources. But you can see here it's giving you the source name in the glimpse catalog. If it found a cross match with 2MASS, it's there. Got galactic latitude and longitude, errors on that, right ascension declination, errors on that. And then the JH and K from 2MASS, and then the 3.5 and 4.5 microns from Spitzer there. They have catalogs for the other two IRAC channels, but of course there are no other IRAC data in this region, so it doesn't exist. It's got the fluxes in addition to the magnitudes. It's got estimates of sky background and other things to help you assess whether or not you believe the quality of the source. To save this catalog to disk, click on the diskette icon and it will save it to disk as an IPAC table file. Note that our original search here was 0.1389 degrees. The region that we're studying is of course larger. So if you want a bigger catalog, you'll have to go back and change the original source search, or go to the catalogs tab and tell it so it remembers the target. It's got a cone search. You can increase this to whatever size you want, and then you pick Spitzer, and then you pick glimpse, and then go over here, and what we want is actually the glimpse 360. There's the archive and the catalog. We probably want archive, search, and it will go and get the catalog over a degree centered on that from that. It's going to take quite a little while for it to go and get it because it's a lot of sources, but it'll let you know when it's done, and then you can load it into a tab. The same catalogs tab appears in all the other URSA tools that have the same look and feel, so you can go and get glimpse catalogs exactly that way from any of the catalogs that look like this. You can of course also get 2MASS or WISE or any of the other big holdings that are at URSA. I did tell you it was going to take a while. Okay, well, when it's done, it'll give you a link like this, or it will actually give you a pop-up that says load it into a tab, and you say yes, and then it will load it into, there we go. So 159,000 rows. Yes, load it. There's the catalog that it pulled over that larger region. I forgot, of course, that I need to explain to you how to unpack the data when you get it. So here I've waited long enough that it's finally overlaid the sources on the image. There's a lot of sources. It's not really in stripes on the sky. It's just that the computer is trying to struggle with rendering all the sources, and so it's binned them up, and so that's an artifact of how it's plotting on the screen. So if you want to download the data, I showed you how to save the catalog. You click on the diskette icon, and in this case it's an enormous catalog, so it takes a while, but it'll download the catalog in IPAC table format. That's the glimpse catalog we retrieved initially. There's the glimpse images. So in order to prepare download, first you have to tell it what you want it to bundle up. If you click on the checkbox on the top, it selects everything. If you want to click on just individual rows, it'll get just that one row. Let's get all of that. So let's click on the checkbox on the top, and it'll select all of it. Then click on prepare download. So then it asks, do you want just the enhanced products, or do you want all of the ancillary information that goes with it? If you are doing super advanced research where it matters to you how many frames per patch of sky and what the errors are and all of that good stuff, then yes, include ancillary. If you're doing image inspection, trying to check and see, did the photometry do what you think it did, you probably don't need the ancillary, but I'm going to pick it just to show you what's there. You can tell it to send you email when you're done, when it's done packaging with the URLs to download. You don't have to. If you do want to do it, then you need to put in an email address. I'm going to ask it just to prepare the download. It's only got a couple mosaics, so it shouldn't be too long. you go click on that, and it'll come back eventually. Okay, it's finally come back. So we click on download now, and it's going to take a little while to pull it, probably longer for you because I'm sitting at Caltech with a wired connection. My browser is configured to put all of the downloads in the downloads folder. I don't know what your computer does. You need to figure out what your computer does and figure out where it's put this information. So here's the catalog file that we downloaded earlier. So as I've mentioned several times before, the first thing you want to do is rename it to something that makes sense to you. So let's do glimpse catalog 1 degree. You know, just something that you understand that makes sense to you. That's what matters. Doesn't matter if it makes sense to me. Doesn't matter if it makes sense to your kids. It matters if it makes sense to you because it's your file on your disk. And the reciprocal of that is if you come back to me later and ask, where is this file? I'm going to say to you, I don't know. Where did you put it? What did you name it? Okay, so we're going to uncompress. So there's a zip file. If you just double click on it, your computer is supposed to know what to do with it. Some PCs may not. I don't know how to help you with that. You need to figure out how to help your computer understand what to do with the zip file. You may need to Google and get free software. It should be free because it's a very common compression utility to get it uncompressed. It's going to take a little bit because these are big mosaics. So you can see that my poor little computer here is struggling, and it will unzip it and it will put it into a directory, a folder that has the files in it. So it's chewing. You can see that it's almost 400 megabytes compressed, so you know that it's going to be pretty big when it's uncompressed. Okay, so now it's created a directory, and it's got a README file that basically just says, you know, it has basic information about it. It's not global information, but it's just basic information that says, you know, this is how big the files are, and this is where to go to get more information. The glimpse subdirectory has a lot of subdirectories. So again, the first thing you want to do may be to get rid of some of these subdirectories, but let's actually, yeah, let's do it this way. So glimpse images 360.6 mosaics. What that means is each pixel is well, I don't know what that means. We'll have to go read the documentation to find out. The galactic longitude we want. Okay, so there are the two FITS files. So what you might want to do right away is move them out of this deep directory structure and put them in a place where you can find them. And then you should be able to actually load them into whatever FITS viewer you want, whether that's Finder Chart or one of the other IRSA tools or DS9 or your own FITS viewer. If we had asked for a lot of the ancillary products, I guess we did ask for them, but they didn't come. That's curious. If you had asked for a lot of the ancillary products, you might have a whole bunch of additional information. If you download it from the Level 2 Post BCD, you're going to have a lot of extra files, because remember, there's a whole bunch of files that are generated, one per AOR. So you'll have, if I recall correctly, there's the mosaics, there's the masks, there's the errors, there's data tables that have files that tell you how well the positions are calibrated, what mask files that tell you what pixels are good and what pixels are bad, and which ones were hit by cosmic rays, which ones are affected by instrumental issues. There's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of ancillary information that goes with it that's important if you're going to try to combine these mosaics on your own or do your own photometry. It is important. I don't want to dismiss it, but in terms of actually looking at the images, if the post-BCD products are what you're working with, you want the MAIC files. But for our project, let's just go with the data that somebody else has already reduced for us, because they've done the photometry, they've done the image combining to make the mosaics. Let's just go with that. So I would say just go with the mosaic files that come from Glimpse, because they're good products and it saves us a bunch of work. So there they are.